finally had to admit something that felt a little embarrassing as like a therapist and a grown ass woman to admit it. I realized that I couldn't self-care my way out of burnout. It wasn't like it was something that, yes, if I do this, then burnout will go away. No. But midlife has a really rude way of telling the truth. And at some point, your body just stops carrying what it's been carrying and what your identity wanted. It starts doing something totally different. And we as helpers have been normalizing what has been burnout or what are the things that we shouldn't be carrying in the first place for a really long time. Human design did not magically fix my burnout, but it just helped me understand the roles, the patterns, the rhythms that I had been living in that's really been draining me. Once you kind of see that, you can't unsee it. Trying to admit something is really hard, especially when you really have the language, you understand burnout, you understand stress and healing, the capacity, and you know all these things. But when you realize that the things that as helpers we are taught to do for self care, which is just like everyone else, not saying that there's anything wrong with it, but a lot of times because of the position that we're in, those things don't even help. Yes, they got me to where I am, as a therapist with a master's degree and doing things and been in my field for the last 26 years, and they have helped. But I realized that at some point, those things were no longer working. I realized that the problem was much deeper than what I would consider is surface. And so it's not that we're just tired. It's not that it was we could do more, be better. I think the deeper problem was just the way life is structured and the pace that we're living and the expectations of how we're living for everyone else and not our own expectations. And I realized somewhere along the way where I hit midlife, and for some people that's a little bit different than others, but I know for me is when I got to that place, it got really hard to ignore the things that were bothering me and the things that were just no longer working. Being a Gen Xer and in this midlife space, it it can deplete you because there are so many things that we learned as children or was part of our space growing up, and you're seen and not heard, and you live a certain way, you act a certain way, you do things a certain way, but you're in this space where you're taking care of your children now, but you're also probably taking care of your adults. And it's exhausting. Not to mention, you're probably working full time on top of that as a helper. And there's a lot of things kind of in that space that would deplete us. And when we continue to live what society says how we should handle our burnout, yeah, it's exhausting. As this kind of gets louder in my life, I realized that maybe back in 2019, I learned about human design. And it wasn't like, oh, that's lovely. I really looked at that and was like, what is this shit? There's a lot of numbers and lines and shapes and colors, and it was very overwhelming. And yes, at first I was very skeptical about, does this even work, or if it doesn't make sense. But once I really looked at it and took a deep dive on it, there were so many things that just explained like my quirkiness or just the little things about me. And that actually helps because now I understand how I move through the world. But I think there came a time where the burnout was so heavy and not sure what to do or how to move or where to pivot. Everything culminated together in the where I was in that space. And I think in that moment was when I decided I needed to make a change because sometimes as an adult, not sometimes, all the time, as an adult, you have to become responsible for yourself. Like all the things, your mental health, your health care, your diet, your all these things. You have to be responsible for that and not look to other people to fix it for you. And in the end, it really just gave me the language, it gave me the pace and the rhythm that I needed to move through. It gave me like the way I'd make decisions and the capacity that I have. It gave me all of that. It's not like it was another label, because don't get me wrong, in mental health, there's a lot of labels, but it wasn't that. It was a framework to use to help you move through life just a little bit better, a little bit easier. Because if you're living according to your energy and how it flows, things just work better. That was the big shift on how human design kind of helped me as I leaned into it. It wasn't that it was overnight, it was like all these little experiments. It gave me like the roles and the rhythms and the expectations that look good on paper. They were very different according to my design. And it just helped me shift and move into this space where things just got better. I can't say that it was all cupcakes and rainbows and all of that, but it just genuinely got better. Well, it's not that I became obsessed with this, but it's this system, this framework, again, gave me the language. I was able to do my hubs and my children and run everyone's chart and understand how everybody is individually different, but yet how the energy of the house flows together. And it gave me all of that information, which is useful because it gave me how we can change, how we move through our burnout, how we just live, and how we get enough rest, and how we get enough engagement, and how we, again, make decisions and all the things. And that's really what burnout, or what human design, did for me. And so it's not that we are need to give ourselves permission to do things or permission to try something different. It's just that sometimes we just need to make that decision and move forward, because the bigger part of all of this is it's helping us, and me in particular, move through life and create a different life on purpose. And that's really what all of this is about, is living today better than we lived yesterday. And so it's not like things got fixed overnight, but it definitely got fixed over time. And things are much better than they were, say, 2019. So if you are realizing that you can't self-care your way out of patterns, roles, or these rhythms that are actually burning you out, that's exactly why I created the Messy Middle Blueprint. It's basically your personalized human design reading, and it looks at your nervous system, your capacity, and your actual wiring, and how you move, and where's your energy leaking. It's looking at all these things and basically just giving you things for you to kind of ponder on, think about, and understand about yourself. Because once you understand that, then it helps you move a little bit differently. And so, since this was so helpful for me, I want to be able to offer this to you. And if you want your own Messy Middle Blueprint, make sure you check the links below. Until next time.